All right. Good morning, traders. Can you hear me okay out there? Do the quick sound check. Make sure this audio is working okay. Awesome. Thanks, Sky Bob, Caddyshack, Glenna, Bruce. Great to be with you this morning. You were wondering if anyone is out there. Yeah, we're here, Megan. That's great to be with you. Yeah, we've got some wonky markets happening right now. So we'll start out just kind of taking a look at the big picture, how we're starting out this Monday and this week, because, for the better part of last week, we were trading below this big consolidation. So, the market was looking like it was going to head down, closed on a low on Thursday, and then Friday is that Friday or Sunday? That was that was Friday. Or was it Sunday? Am I missing a candle here? Anyway, it rallied up strong. So it closed on a low and then created a new low, but rallied up on the top. And then today we're out clear on the other side of the market. So this is a huge outside range when you've got the market breaking down lower, crossing all the way back to close up higher. So really, really strong momentum. And so there's a lot of analytical reports that came out over the weekend, saying that, hey, maybe we have the analysis wrong for the start of the new year. I think a lot of traders were looking for a weakness to start the year out. And so a lot of several reports from different analysts out there came out over the weekend, said, hey, maybe we got it wrong. And particularly because of that really strong move that we had on non-farm payrolls. So non-farm payrolls were supposed to say that show weaker signs, and it did show weaker. Actually, it showed stronger. Right now we're in this weird thing where it's like good news is bad news is good news. So it's like really confusing. But regardless, what happened, the market should have tanked on Friday, and instead it rallied pretty hard. And so that follow through momentum is what we're seeing over the weekend, Sunday, and then into today. So we're gonna piggyback on that momentum in our trading session. We're going to piggyback on that momentum and ride some of that momentum as we go through our trading session today. Unfortunately, I can't see chat. So if you've got questions or something like, oh, you know what? Now I can. So I've got the chat bar up next to me. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask. Let's drop down to the 1 minute chart where we're starting to see the first signs. We've had a really strong morning, really strong bullish movement most of the morning. So a little bit of a pullback here, followed by an immediate rally back up to new highs. And so most of the morning I've been on the long side of this. Coming into a little what is called a ascending triangle. So let's see if that, usually those break to the high side. But we'll see, we're a little overextended, and especially on that 5 minute chart, we're starting to see a little bit of alternating bull bear candles. So let's watch and see if this makes a turn back down into the lows. If it does, we'll pick up some more trades. Probably right in these lows down in here. So let's just keep an eye on that. normally I want to fade, and especially where this market has been as strong as it's been, and normally I'd fade, but this is a multi-day momentum, and so I don't want to necessarily fight that. So we'll just kind of wait for it to pull back, and then we'll jump on with some longs. So just give it a minute here. Tried to make that turn right here. Formed a little wick. Tried to make the turn to the downside, formed a little wick. Now it's coming up to test the highs. Most often than not, more often than not, this little pattern, this little ascending triangle breaks to the high side. So there it starts to go. And now I'll let that run, and then maybe I'll fade the top of that. So we'll let it run. See if I can get anything higher than that. I'll start to trade. This alternating bear, so bull, bear, bull candle, and the big wicks on the top. It's not a really strong, that's not a real strong momentum pattern right there. So we might want to fade this one, not down in here. We won't fade it. We won't get into trades down in shorts down in here. We'll get into longs. There's still that buying pressure coming in, but on the extreme edges, we'll fade it. Should see some follow through to the downside. So be careful on this. And then the break or the actual turn right here. So see if that comes down, test that turning point right down here on this line. By the way, we have we have that price action boot camp coming up this month. So excited for any of you who are, for those of you who are signed up for that. Man, price action is such a key. Learning how to read that price action is such a key. You know, we can do a lot with management, just position sizing, how we get in, where we get out, how we manage all of that. We can do a lot with management of our resources. And in fact, if there was that, management is probably primo uno. it's the number one thing. But close on its tail is being able to develop that skill of reading a chart and how it works. And so that's really what we're going to be focused on in that boot camp is, reading these. So, when we see a little ascending triangle like this, we know that there's that advantage that the market's going to break. And sure enough, it did. It broke, but there wasn't enough follow through on it. So that's why, that when it pops back down, that's why you're really looking at this line right here. This is such a key line that it holds, but all pressure, when this fails, all pressure comes down onto that point right there. Looks like the market's gonna hold that line and another outside range. So you can kind of see, well, not quite an outside range yet, but so on a very micro scale, you've got a bottom here and you've got a top, and that's your little up leg, right? And then when you cross down below here, that should have continued to the downside. So as it comes up and it crosses up here, that forms a micro outside range. Don't know if it's going to continue. It's showing signs of weakness right now, but I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of shorts on just 1, 2, this could break and momentum could build really strong here. So I don't want to get too heavy. Managing positions, such an Again, number one. Waiting for that to see if it's going to break to the high side. If this doesn't break to the high side, then it puts even more pressure, even more probability that it breaks the bottom side. So that's the only reason why I'm trading the short side right now, is that as long as it doesn't break, if it breaks, all these trades are going to I'm going to probably take a loss on that, because the momentum will build to the upside here if it breaks, or it could build. That's what I would expect, is it would build to the upside here. Yeah, but we've lost momentum. We've lost. This was a good momentum bar, but we've not maintained it. So turn back down. Really good chance we clip through most of these targets. And our targets aren't on the other side of the turn. So I can pull some of those down and make just a little extra money on them, just to see if we can test the turn. So here's the test of the turn. And there's our profit. There's the turning point. And we said if it fails to break up higher, then that'll put a lot more pressure and a greater probability on that break, on that turn. And that's what we're seeing right now. So we'll let that continue. We're 20 seconds left, so there's still a good chance we could see some buying pressure come in. We're not seeing the sellers jump on the bandwagon yet. So be a little careful in trading this until we see that. There we go, coming down into the lows, and there's the close of the candle. So now I'll start to build a long position, because I've got targets underneath the old turn. So market rallies up to test the break. That's a high probability move. But we're only one candle into it. So the expectation is that we should continue to see selling pressure. But there's also the chance that it comes up and tests the break. So there's our profit. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and put a short position on, really small short position, because there's so much bullish momentum on it right now that I really don't want to see it pop back up into that turn. And that's a very real possibility. That move right there is what we don't want to have happen. So I got to keep my position size really small. It's still a little early in that candle. And so far, we've seen a full retrace of the candle and then some. So we're now banging for another outside range. crosses up above here, we're in that outside range. Yeah, right there. And we'll let that, okay, so now I'm in some loss positions. So now I'm going to look for a quick retracement to test the break. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale out of a couple of those losses if I can. If I can get a little bit of income, I'm going to scale out of the loss side of that equation, or of this position, right in here. Momentum's building. And now we don't expect, so this outside range is the breakout. So outside range, here, let me just draw them in. So boom, boom, boom. So 3 back-to-back outside ranges right there. One. And then the current breakout is actually, it's actually the current outside range is actually the breakout. There's the second outside range. And this is the third. And so what I'm looking for is I'm just looking for some quick profit here to offset some losses. This is just a transition move, not looking to make money on these trades. Now I'm looking to get those trades off the books. Pull these up. These are the trades I want to get off the book. So I'm going to pull the targets in to that stack. There's the 5th and the 6th trade. And then I'm going to pull these down just a little bit more. I'm going to anchor in on, I'm going to target that bottom little position. Pull that last little one. There's one more, I think. Two more at least. Another one there. Can't catch it. Whatever it is, I can't quite get my fingers on it. Um, the reason I'm not buying right now is that we're still got there's the last pullback that we had a pullback here, had a pullback here, and we should see another pullback at some point right in here. So I'm not quite ready for the longs. The place for the longs was down here. So if we do get the pullback, then we can put, as we take these hit these targets, then we can stick the longs on. But I'm a little leery about getting into the long right here, CN. Still holding pretty good in that upper range. So it could be a basing pattern. We could see a basing pattern and then follow through to the upside. Okay, drop just a little bit more. First little stack of trades. I'm going to go ahead and take it manually, take a couple of those off, those lost trades. There's that second stack of trades. And now we're just gravy. Like this is very manageable at this point. There's another. Didn't quite hit that, but close. So right where we expect that resistance to, or that support to come in, it hit. That came in. Now we'll just let those last couple run. We'll let them ride for a second. Right through the support. So here's the break. Here's the test of the break, and it's breaking down through that. And then right here, we'll just close those out manually. No sense in holding on to them because we can see that momentum come back in and spike it. This is where CN, if you really are long, if you're really bullish, which the market is, this would be a good place, down on these lows would be a good place to build that long position. I'm still a little leery of the long. There's still a little bit of reasons why we should see a pullback on, especially time of day. We should see a little bit of a pullback. I'm going to let that run again, and then I'm going to layer into some shorts again. One short. I want to see what it does here. There's a second. See if it pops up, makes the turn. This is your 3-bar reversal trigger right here. So I'm going to see if it makes the turn. If it makes the turn, then I'll build a little bit stronger short position. The other thing to look for here is a measured move. So you've got a leg, a consolidation, and then you have another leg. That leg puts us down on the lows. So if this makes the turn, then we're most likely going to be down on that low at this point. But it's got to make that turn pretty quick here. There's that turn forming. So the first challenge has been met. It made the turn. Now it's got to follow through and break the bottom and seeing a little bit of strength. So kind of taking the taking the legs out from underneath the measured move concept right here. It's kind of sitting on that top. There's a break. So that's now a turn to the upside. So the turn to the downside triggered but failed. That put the pressure back up on the turn to the high side, and it's starting to form right now. Little early, 35 seconds. So the only way it can combat being early is by throwing distance on. So it's got to cover it's going to have to cover a bigger area. Otherwise, we're going to see a little bit of tail activity on that top. Like that. See that tail? So when it breaks, that tries to make that break a little bit early. It's got to have that momentum follow through, and it's got to push that price significantly away from the turning point so that sellers don't have a chance of like retracing it. If they don't follow through and get a really good, if they don't follow through and get away from the breaking point, then sellers see that as an opportunity, and then in that last 20 seconds they'll come in and pound it and form the wick. And that's what you'll see that so many times. This one, the sellers didn't quite push it all the way back down underneath the trigger point. But they did come in the last few minutes and try to push it down. It just didn't go far enough. So that's why we're seeing follow through to the upside. Little momentum spike there. And we're right on the highs. So now we see if it's going to break to the upside. A lot of pressure. So it's when it's sitting on the high and not pulling back. So it makes a move higher, sits there, sits there, sits there, sits there, makes a move higher, sits there, sits there, sits there. But then there's more and more pressure to move it higher. If it makes a move higher and then pulls back, then we know that there's that counter movement in the market. Right now, we don't have counter movement. We just have predominantly buyers in the market right now. Sadly, all these trades are underneath a turn, so I'm not positioned very well right now. Good chance of a break to the high side, and the turn at this point is right there. So all my targets are underneath a turn. Not a great place to be. And still no counters, no counter movement to the bulls, right? They're still holding on the top ends of those ranges, or top ends of those candles. So as long as those bulls keep the tops of the candles, then they're going to just continue marching it forward. unless somehow the sellers can get, get a handle on this. There's a break. So that's a break to the high side. Sellers are countering. So the break was short-lived. See if they follow through again. Sellers rejected it for a second. So sellers rejected the break. So now technically the ball's in their court, but they're not showing that it's not very strong. They're not showing a strong hand right now. They need to be a little bit stronger. They need a little stronger hand. Okay, sellers are finding a little bit of strength there, pushing it down on the turning point. So right here is the consolidation area. They couldn't push it down through that. So our consolidation area is this little rectangle right in here. Break to the downside is a turn to the downside, and a break to the upside is a breakout in the direction of the trend. So trying to break to the high side now. Trying again here. 9 seconds. So now they waited to the right time. So this is the right time for them to do it. 3, 2, 1. And that's an official break. Now you expect follow through to the upside. And we just need it. We need to get a little pullback. If this drops back down into the consolidation, then that's a false break, right? So that's what we're hoping is that we get now we get a false break, not a whipsaw, but a false break. And that should put this little stack that I'm putting on right now. We should be able to hit those targets if we can jump back down into that consolidation. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, new candle. So now we're back in the consolidation, a little bit of a false break. Targets are getting hit. But in order to really pull this trade off, we need to break to the downside. We actually need to turn and form that little down leg that we've been looking for most of the morning, right? We've had little legs. We've had little moves, but we've not had a sustained selling, anything sustained. We've made money through everything, but we've not had anything sustainable. And that's what we're looking for, is that sustained move. Pops back up into those highs. No one wants to take the short side of this market right now, except for me. And a new high. And a pop back down. I'm going to pull these up now. Another high. And just wait. That's all we can do right here, is just wait and hope that we get a little bit of volatility. Just wait. A lot of waiting. Not doing much of anything right now, guys. So we just wait. Problem is that this is still showing strength to the high side, and it's just not getting any kind of counter movement. And the market fluctuates from periods of consolidation to expansion to consolidation to expansion. And so unfortunately, the next move for this market is an expansion. And right now, the probability favors that expansion to the upside. And so we're kind of stuck we're kind of stuck with a pretty good sized position on the with the need to have an expansion to the downside. So it's not a miracle thing. This is just normal. It's just not. But yeah, I believe in miracles too. Like miracles happen. I'm confident in the position. It just may take like this market is poised for a pullback. the problem is it just may take a little bit of a side route getting there. Like I'm very confident we'll end the session on the positive side. Nothing so far has like would detract me from that. However, it just may take a sidetrack getting there. That's a beautiful run right there. And if it follows through and gets the rest of that little stack, that buys us a lot of wiggle room. Didn't quite do it. It's been the name of this session. It's been good, but it's just not quite enough on any of the moves. But that was a really good move nonetheless, right? That one little bear candle did some wonders for us. So it's trading now on the upside of that consolidation. We're finding support on the top of that consolidation now. So what we need to do is we need to get back down underneath that, actually stage a turn. Just peeling these down just ever so slightly. I'll make an extra 50 cents on these trades. And even if it doesn't make the drop to the downside, I'm not getting them anyway. Like they're right on that turn, right on that line that the market's forming. And so I might as well turn them down and try and catch up that little extra momentum and a little extra money on that stack right there. And if we can get that stack, then if we can get that stack, all those, let's see, wick on the bottom, wick on the bottom, wick on the bottom. So it's not ever gonna hit those targets unless it breaks, right? So if it breaks, then it's gonna break a little bit stronger than just a small wick. And so we might as well make a little bit of extra money on that break. Is this it right here? We're right on the lows. Nope, another wick. One, two, three, four, fifth wick underneath. Buyers have got to be looking at that and licking their chops. So buyers have to be like, oh man, we can take it and run it from here. They're stepping in. Oh, is just market does not want to move right now. Getting into smaller and smaller and smaller ranges. The day and the momentum favors a break here, so don't be surprised if it comes. We'll hold and maintain our position. Nothing's out of hand at this point. You know, everything's still maintained and still according to strategy and technique. The market has not, the market has is just not being very quick. It's just stuck in this sideways range. But again, we should see a good pullback at some point here. So I'm getting a decent little stack above the body lows right in here. So the body lows got a really good stack underneath the wick lows. And so if we can get through this stack right here, then we're going to be breaking even. That's our break even stack. If we get through this stack, we're going to make a bunch of money on this trade. So that's kind of the way we've structured it at this point. We need a giant hot arrow, Robin. I can't believe the sellers aren't just like, come on, let's get this over with. So I want to, so body high, body high, body high. I want to get this this stack so that if it comes down, there's a really good chance that the down leg stops maybe right on that line right there. So what I want to do is I want to pull that bottom little part of that stack up just a little bit, so that if it does make that run to the downside, which I'm still saying it will, that we can get out of that whole position and not leave anything on the table. Don't, like, a big move to the downside will gather the attention of all of the buyers and they'll pounce on it. And so you want to make sure that you peel out of those positions when you get the chance, because you may only get a small chance, right? On that pullback, whatever that pullback is. Looks like it hit that first stack. That's good. Coming into the second stack. There's the second stack. So now we're break even on the day. And now let's see if we can make even more money. Well, we're actually ahead. We started the day out, we're up about 0.6%. But if we can get this bottom stack, which we're in the running for, we're in the running for it. May just peel off a couple of these. We're now at 3% return. So we're definitely making money on the session, up about 1%. There we go. Come on, let's get that, the rest of that stack right there. Come on, come on, come on. I'm just going to slowly take these off. I want to make sure that we get out of these trades. I don't want to hold on to them for an up leg down to 0.22. And that's what I'm saying. That see that buying pressure come in right on that area. That's exactly what I was trying to avoid. That's why I wanted to pull those trades up. We didn't get all of them up, but we got most of them up, and we got out of most of them. We're only in 1.25 positions right now. So no big deal, but that's why I want, that timing is crucial on that. And picking out where that buying pressure is going to come. So you get the sell, is it here? Does that buying pressure come in here at the top of all these wicks and that body, or does it come in here at the bottom of that big wick or that big candle? So there's a little bit of an art to picking out where that selling pressure is going to come in, and the buying pressure, that transition for the buying pressures, the buying is going to happen. And so we did a really good job picking that out. Did a really good job pulling those targets, most of those targets up into that right spot. And then and we just had a couple of stragglers left over. But beautiful trade. Made us wait for 20 minutes. But excuse me. But we picked up about 1.5%, just shy of 1.5% on the day. So that's not bad. I mean, anytime you can sit down and in an hour pull out a percent or more, that's a great trading session. That's fantastic. You got to be happy with that. You get to a position where you can do it today, tomorrow, the next day, it's even better. Second leg down. See if it pops down. So the way that I read this is it jumps up. If it turns before the lows, look for that market to rally higher. If it comes down to the low, look for the market to rally higher. If it comes down and breaks it, then we look for follow through and momentum picking up to the downside. So kind of taking that first path here. See if it pops up above that. If it pops up, then look for another big run to the high side. And that's it. Good session. Kind of came in right at the last minute clutch move. Nice little close to the trading session. But again, just just stay with it, maintain your position. You can always, you always take things off. We took plenty of losses through that. You survived. It was a miracle. Good for you, Artemio. You build those positions, and if they don't work out, you look for ways to scaling out at the best possible price. If you can offset it with profit, do that. And then you just keep waiting and waiting and working with the market. And eventually, you can build up for that high probability move if it happens. And if it doesn't happen, you just keep working with it. And so that one little move made all the difference. It was that little move, while it doesn't look very big, that was a 2+% move for us. And that's not bad. Love trading with you guys. Thank you. Thank you for always look forward to a chance to, just spend some time, do some good old fashioned price action reading. Get a little frustrated when the market doesn't move. All those good things. But it is a treat. Thank you, everyone. We'll let you go, and best of success to you. Thanks, traders. Bye now.